Time. Humans have been obsessed with it forever. And for centuries, the Swiss were the undisputed masters of telling it. Until in the 1970s, something small, electronic, and deceptively humble showed up and nearly wiped them off the map. This is the story of the Quartz Crisis, a story of obsession, invention, betrayal, and the birth of a new kind of horology. This story starts in Japan, not in Switzerland. Seiko, a small company that began in 1881 making clocks and eventually watches, was quietly obsessed with precision. By the 1960s, they were experimenting with quartz technology, a tiny vibrating crystal that could regulate time far more accurately than any mechanical escapement. It was revolutionary, but nobody outside Japan really understood what was coming.
To impress him, takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that.
Then, on December 25, 1969, Seiko dropped the bomb, the Astron, the first quartz wristwatch. Accurate to within 5 seconds a month, powered by a battery that would last a year. Think of it like J. Robert Oppenheimer staring at the mushroom cloud, the invention that could wipe out an entire industry. Mechanical watches, suddenly quaint, artisanal, cute. The Swiss didn't see it coming. They were still polishing cases, perfecting movements, engraving rotors. Meanwhile, quartz watches were cheap, accurate, and essentially maintenance-free. By the mid-1970s, the Swiss industry was bleeding. Hundreds of brands collapse, jobs vanish, factories close. Mechanical mastery was suddenly irrelevant. The very art that had defined Switzerland for centuries was at risk of being erased. It was Armageddon in slow motion. You could feel it in the air. The ticking of a mechanical watch was no longer a heartbeat of progress. It was now a relic. Quartz was efficient, but soul, not so much. Mechanical watches had history, craftsmanship, and artistry. Tiny engines of obsessive perfection. Quartz had a vibrating crystal and a battery. It sold perfect time. And yet collectors and consumers went wild. And the industry had to adapt or die. By the late 1970s, the Swiss were desperate. Some adapted, launching quartz lines. Others merged or disappeared entirely. The survivors learned an invaluable lesson. Precision alone wasn't enough. Craftsmanship, heritage, and storytelling became their weapons. The Quartz Crisis didn't just threaten Swiss watches. It reshaped horology forever. It forced the Swiss industry to evolve, reinvent, and redefine value. The Quartz Crisis teaches a brutal lesson. Technology can disrupt tradition in ways no one expects. Mechanical watches weren't dead. They were endangered. They had to prove their worth not through accuracy, but through passion, design, and craftsmanship. The survivors didn't just weather the storm, they thrived. And today, mechanical watches are more coveted than ever. Scarcity, history, and soul became the antidote to cold quartz precision. Quartz didn't kill watches. It almost did. But it also forced an entire industry to rethink itself, innovate, and rediscover its soul. Today, quartz is everywhere, reliable and invisible. Mechanical watches are the rebellion, the art, the heartbeat of history strapped to your wrists. And somewhere hidden in a quiet corner of a Japanese lab in the 1960s, the Seiko Astron hums quietly, like a little atom bomb that reshaped the world forever. Tick tock.